Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a huge lineup of news to share with all of you today. Today's date is August 15th, 2025, and it's Friday. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I hope you're all having an awesome day today. I can't believe it's Friday once again, already ready to get into our weekend. Let's get right into the news. Lots to cover with this war update. We're going to start out with a major explosion that happened today in Russia's Ryazan Oblast. Allegedly, a gunpowder plant had exploded. So let's start off with this report here on your screen. Major explosion occurs at a gunpowder plant in Russia's Ryazan Oblast. At least 5 workers were killed in a blast at an explosives plant in Russia's Ryazan region, southeast of Moscow. A gunpowder workshop at the elastic synthetic fiber plant caught fire. Yeah, so I'm not sure if this was due to Ukrainian drones. We had a massive attack on Russia last night. I'm going to show you guys the map here in just a minute, showing these drones going into Russia. So I don't know if it was caused from a drone or not, but allegedly a massive explosion here you can see in the video footage as this gunpowder plant just completely blowing up today. And allegedly 5 workers, if not more, have already been killed. There's been probably dozens injured because this plant was actually being manned at the time while this explosion took place. So absolutely insane information today. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. We also have reports today of an oil refinery in Russia's Sumy region known as the Syzran oil refinery. It was hit by Ukrainian drones. Massive fire broke out on that facility. Another major refinery blown up today. And also, Ukrainian drones attacked the port of Olya in the Astrakhan region. A Russian cargo ship loaded with Shahed drone components and other Iranian munitions was sunk and destroyed. Yeah, you heard that right. We had a Russian cargo ship being attacked last night, loaded with Iranian munitions, has been destroyed. We'll talk about that also. And also, we have information today that lots of other explosions were reported in Russia due to this massive attack overnight. Ukraine was also attacked by 97 drones, including 2 missiles were fired into Ukraine. So the largest attack that we've seen probably over the last week, just to the run-up of this meeting between Trump and Putin today, and I do have a lot of information regarding that as well. Let's get into the news, guys. So much to cover. Let's hop on over here to X with Drone Bomber. I'm going to try my best to get through these as quick as possible. You can see we got a lot of tabs to cover today. Approximate flight routes of our UAVs. Red arrow indicates directions of strike UAVs. Blue arrow indicates directions of jet-powered UAVs. All route information is based on Russian sources. Look at this absolutely massive attack onto Russia last night, guys. I mean, which region of Russia, at least in the western and southwestern side, wasn't attacked last night? Just so many different reports of explosions everywhere, even reports of massive explosions in Kursk. We'll show you some video footage coming out from there later as well. Lots of things being targeted. So primarily, we're going to start off talking about over here in the Sumy region. It's a little bit cut off, but right next to Olya, if I'm saying that, Oblast, right here on this major river is where we have this Syzran oil refinery that was being targeted and hit overnight. And then aside from that, we have that massive explosion in the Ryazan Oblast right here. You can see a lot of drones were heading up this direction right next to Moscow, where this explosives plant was detonated and completely was destroyed. Apparently leveled the entire area around this site as well. I've got video footage coming out from there. So those are some of the major attacks. Aside from that, down here towards the Caspian Sea in the Astrakhan region is where that port of Olya came under attack by Ukrainian drones. And allegedly we have a Russian cargo ship struck and destroyed full of Iranian munitions. So much information to cover, guys. Let's keep moving here. Military news UA in the Ryazan region, a gunpowder plant at the elastic plant exploded. 3 Russians were killed and 20 others were injured. The gunpowder plant is reported to have been completely destroyed. So you can see here it's talking about 3 Russians being killed, and my information had 5. I actually pulled that information from the Moscow Times today. They were actually reporting that 5 people have been killed. So those numbers apparently have been rising. So, yeah, as you can see here, this massive explosion. Look at the fireball coming from that site as this gunpowder plant completely blowing up in the Ryazan region. And I believe there's also, next to Ryazan, we have the Tambov region, which is not too far away. There's a gunpowder plant over there in the city of Kotovsk. That's also a gunpowder plant Ukraine has attacked numerous times before. So I'm not sure again if this was due to Ukrainian drone attack. Maybe it was, but if it wasn't, definitely something happened over here. Maybe it was somebody was smoking or doing something they shouldn't have been doing, caused a fire, and then we had this massive explosion at this plant. So crazy video footage there. Now, Max 25, alleged video of the aftermath of a gunpowder explosion at the Elastic plant in the Ryazan region. Yeah, this video surfacing on X today, allegedly showing the area around this plant that has been leveled. Look at all these trees are gone and everything. Take a look at this, about 30 seconds.
Ебать. Ебать, тут ни одно, ни два здания. Тут пиздец.
So this looks to be one of the largest explosions we've ever seen inside of Russia, coming from a gunpowder plant that blew up. They must have stored a lot of explosives inside of this warehouse when it was destroyed. I mean, just look at this area, completely gone. It looks apocalyptic in this area. Even this fence right here completely blown over as well. Very insane video footage coming out from the Ryazan region of Russia. Now from Vicegrad24, breaking: the Syzran oil refinery in Russia is on fire after several hits from Ukrainian long-range suicide drones. It is located near the border with Kazakhstan. So it's not too far away from Kazakhstan. It's not literally on the border of Kazakhstan. It's a little bit further from there. Yeah, kind of getting closer to like central Russia. I'd say it's about maybe 600 to 800 kilometers or so, maybe a little bit further into Russian territory. But look at the fire that broke out here on the site of this facility. We can see actually multiple fires over here as well. At least 2 major fires reported on this site of this oil refinery. And based on some reports I was seeing, as many as 10 explosions were reported on the site of this oil refinery. Okay, so it could have been hit up to 10 times, maybe more. And based on the video footage there, looks like severe damage was caused. Here's some video footage also from Vicegrad24. Drone attacks on Russian oil refineries continue. In Syzran, Samara region, refinery caught fire after a drone strike. In a video, local resident shows a burning facility, claiming that internet access has been cut off and the local TV channel is deliberately ignoring the blaze, instead broadcasting footage of city celebrations. Yeah, watch this. This woman's recording the footage here, or recording the site, excuse me, of this facility burning, and then she turns and shows her TV, and the state TV is just completely ignoring what's going on over here. Look at this.
Интернета нет. Завод горит. А по самарским новостям смотрим какую-то хуйню. Мордва, блядь.
So there's your typical, don't look at what's going on over here, pay attention to what's happening on the television, as there's just people dancing on TV. Meanwhile, this massive refinery is on fire right outside of her window, and mainstream news over there in Russia is not even covering what is going on. Pretty interesting. Now from NOAA reports, the key ELOU-ABT-6 crude oil distillation unit at the Syzran oil refinery was hit, along with, sorry guys, gotta pause these real quick, along with significant damage to several storage tanks. ABT-6 is the refinery's main processing unit, handling atmospheric and vacuum distillation, as well as secondary distillation and gasoline stabilization, with a capacity of 6 million tons per year. So look at this. They were actually trying to protect this unit with like these pipes or something, these metal beams, right? And even though they were trying to protect it, this drone still made it right through it. You can see the hole right there. Actually, still struck the unit, causing a massive fire. I mean, look at that. Completely covered in cages here. Yet this Ukrainian drone was able to smash right through it, destroying the unit, catching it on fire. So these were pictures coming out showing the aftermath of this complete unit here destroyed. Okay, so let's not be surprised if we happen to hear that now this oil refinery is going to be shut down to some capacity, maybe completely, very soon. Now from Astra, Russian authorities confirmed drone attack on vessel in Astrakhan port, according to Ukrainian General Staff. It carried Iranian munitions. Drones attacked the port of Olya in the Astrakhan region. Governor Igor Babushkin said the vessel was damaged by debris. An eyewitness told Astra the crew was rescued. He also claimed the vessel was sunk by a drone. On the morning of August 15th, Ukraine's general staff reported the strike on the Russian cargo vessel port Olya 4 in Astrakhan port of Olya. It claimed Russia uses this port as key logistics hub for military shipments from Iran. The agency added that, according to available information, the port Olya 4 was loaded with Shahed-type UAV components and munitions from Iran. Port Olya is the largest Russian port in the Caspian region. It handles cargo between Russia, Caspian states, Persian Gulf, South Asia, and the Middle East. Zargrad wrote. So these are allegedly pictures coming out showing potentially this cargo ship that was struck and started sinking. And from what I heard, it completely sunk actually over here in the Caspian Sea. There it is right there. Also, you can see just the front of it. It's sticking up out of the water. And here's another good photo showing this ship that has been hit by Ukrainian drones. Okay, isn't that crazy that a drone was literally able to sink a cargo ship over here in the Caspian Sea? So Ukraine's starting to change up their targets of what they're going after for the Russian military, but this is huge because these are shipments coming from Iran at this port, and Ukraine decided to attack it overnight. So very big news there. Here's more information from Special Kursin Cat. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on August 14th, Ukrainian Special Operation Forces, in coordination with other Defense Forces units, struck the Russian port of Olya in Astrakhan region. The port is used as a key logistics hub for military supplies from Iran. Preliminary reports indicate the vessel located in Port Olya 4, loaded with Shahed UAV components and ammunition from Iran, was hit. Damage assessment is ongoing. So this is kind of showing the port down here that came under attack in the Astrakhan region, right on the edge of the Caspian Sea. And here's kind of where it's located at. Okay, so down here, this got the Astrakhan region, right near the Caspian Sea. There's like a little waterway that runs up into the Astrakhan region, coming from the Caspian Sea, and this is where this hit took place. Okay, down here in southwestern Russia, and just massive hit today, destroying this vessel that was carrying potentially Iranian Shahed drones or components. So now for Max 25, detonation of ammunition in Yena, Kiev. Okay, this is going to be in the Donetsk region of Ukraine. We actually had reports of explosions down there also, and possibly even confirmation of a Russian command post that has been hit overnight. We've got several videos here. Take a look at this one. All right, so occupied areas of Ukraine seeing a lot of drones and explosions, especially here in the Donetsk region. And it looks like we have a Russian ammunition depot that was struck and destroyed there. You can hear lots of pop sounds there of that ammunition detonating. Now from LX Summer 1, explosions can be heard in occupied Yena, Kiev, Donetsk region. The city is under massive attack by drones. So you can actually already see a fire right here, and you're going to see another explosion just over here to the right as a Ukrainian drone slams into some sort of target. And again, we were hearing some confirmation from Ukrainian news outlets today. Ukraine's general staff was reporting they struck a Russian command post, or at least attacked one over here. Could be what we're seeing. Take a look at this.
Мама, дойди, пожалуйста.
Ебать! Я сняла его, пиздец! Еще один летит!
По 28 хуя. Это сейчас будет.
All right, we'll go ahead and pause it there. So you can hear that Ukrainian drone coming in, and then it smashes into a target right over here, and then soon after, a massive fire breaking out. So not sure exactly what Ukraine was targeting there, but again, we did hear confirmed reports from Ukraine's general staff that a command post was being attacked. We also had that ammunition depot that could possibly be it right there, but several targets being hit over here in Yena, Kiev overnight. Now for Max 25 in Kursk, Russian electronic warfare diverted a UAV from its course and drove it into a building. Yeah, so many reports of explosions in the Kursk region overnight. There was also another report. I'm not sure if it was from Kursk region. It could have been Belgorod, but somewhere in that area up near northeastern Ukraine. We had reports that a Russian air defense missile had allegedly malfunctioned and crashed into a home over there also. So just lots of explosions being reported in the Kursk region and Belgorod regions overnight. I think even during the day yesterday, Ukraine was launching a pretty significant drone attack on the Belgorod, or the city of Belgorod, in the Belgorod region yesterday. There was lots of explosions going on over there from smaller UAV drones that were attacking that area. Now, Vicegrad 24 breaking: Russia launches ballistic missiles at Ukraine. Residential area Dnipro was hit. All right, we got this strike again in the city of Dnipro in central Ukraine in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Russians once again launching ballistic missile attacks. I think 2 of them were being fired at Ukraine, and for sure one of them striking the city of Dnipro here. Here's a new picture coming out showing this strike. So massive hit from the Russians. Not sure exactly what they were trying to target over there, but we do see a lot of missile strikes in the city of Dnipro. Now for more translated, explosions were heard in Sumy as Russian forces struck the area near the city's central market, local media report. Yeah, look at this. There was just a market over here that came under attack. You see a massive fire over there. I think this was due to drones. These were the 2 major reports today, was Dnipro and Sumy coming under attack. Missiles in Dnipro, drone attacks in Sumy today. Massive fire breaking out right in the city center of this market. Here's another video also. Anton Yeroshenko: peace-wanting Russia attacked the center of Sumy today. Reportedly, the city market was under attack. Rescue services at work. So think about this for a moment, guys. Almost the entire week, over the last week, we haven't seen really any strikes on civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. It's been very quiet. I'm not going to say that it hasn't been happening at all, but compared to what just happened maybe 2 weeks ago, prior to when we were hearing that Trump and Putin were going to meet, we were seeing daily attacks, just so many people being injured, killed, people driving in their cars in the Kherson region, attacked by FPV drones, emergency response workers getting hit by missiles and drones after showing up on a site that had already allegedly gotten hit. Just so many civilians being attacked by Russian munitions, and we haven't really seen anything much over the last week. And then now all of a sudden, right before Trump and Putin are about to meet, we see a massive attack on Ukraine, 99 or 97 or so drones going into Ukraine, and we have these major strikes that the Russians were carrying out, civilians being injured in these attacks again. It's very crazy. Makes you wonder if there's some sort of message being sent there. Now from next up, Putin has already departed from Magadan. I don't know if it's Magadan or Magadan. In about 4 hours, his plane will land at Anchorage, where he will hold talks with Trump. So this was allegedly Putin's plane leaving from Magadan or Magadan down here in the far eastern side of Russia, heading over to Alaska over here. And as far as I know, could be almost there, maybe there already. Trump and Putin are expected to meet today, so I've got a lot of reports on that today. Here's a picture from EMPR Media, and it says Alaska Now. And this was pictures in Anchorage today. These are U.S. citizens out on the streets that are protesting against Putin showing up. And look at all these Ukrainian flags. The people in Anchorage showing major support for Ukraine and not very happy with Trump inviting Vladimir Putin to Anchorage. And this is why I asked you guys the other day when we heard that Putin was going to be going to Alaska. If anybody here was from Alaska, how do you feel about that? I mean, I live in the United States as well also, and me personally, I don't think Putin should be invited to the U.S., but that was Trump's decision. He's the president. But clearly we can see here a lot of people are not very happy with him showing up and showing major support for Ukraine today, so very cool to see that. Now for Vicegrad 24, Trump spoke with reporters aboard Air Force One before meeting with Putin in Alaska. He says they'll be discussed territorial swaps, but I've got to let Ukraine make that decision, and I think they'll make a proper decision. But I'm not here to negotiate for Ukraine. Vladimir Putin wanted to take all of Ukraine. If I wasn't president, he would do that right now be taking all of Ukraine. But he's not going to do it. Yeah, that was Trump today speaking to reporters on Air Force One on the way to Alaska. No video footage, but you're going to be hearing him talking to the press. Take a look.
Today, Mr. President, are the territorial swaps on the table? Will you be discussing that?
They'll be discussed, but I've got to let Ukraine make that decision. And I think they'll make a proper decision. But I'm not here to negotiate for Ukraine. I'm here to get them at a table. And I think you have two sides. Look, Vladimir Putin wanted to take all of Ukraine. If I wasn't president, he would right now be taking all of Ukraine. But he's not going to do it.
Today, say, Mr. President.
Okay, so there's Trump again once again just reiterating the claim that he's not going to be discussing so much territorial swaps. He might discuss territorial disputes a little bit, but not really making any decisions for Ukraine, that Ukraine will be making those on their own. So that's very good to hear that Ukraine will be making those decisions, which obviously that's how it should be, right? Now from Anton Gerashenko, President Trump on the Russian drone attack on Ukraine last night. I think they're trying to negotiate. Putin is trying to set a stage. I mean, in his mind, that helps him make a better deal. It actually hurts him. That's what Trump said also to the press on Air Force One. Take a look at this.
Continued its violence into Ukraine last night, launching even more drones. What did you make of that?
I think they're trying to negotiate. He's trying to set a stage. I mean, in his mind, that helps him make a better deal. It actually hurts him.
Continued its violence.
Interesting, right? So Trump says that he thinks that, Putin launching all these drones into Ukraine helps him make a better deal. And that's why I brought that up earlier, is that, why are we seeing a massive attack on Ukraine overnight with nearly 100 drones all of a sudden, where, the last 5, 6, maybe more days before that, drones were maybe entering into Ukraine in the numbers of 30, 40, 50 at the most. And then all of a sudden, right before he's about to meet with Trump, why do we see a massive attack on Ukraine? And that's what Trump says here. He believes that it helps him make a better deal, but Trump is saying that it actually hurts him in these negotiations. Let me know what you think about that. Now, Max 25, the economy of Putin's country is in bad shape. There could be serious consequences for Russia. They will not do business until they stop the war, Trump said. Trump on security guarantees for Ukraine. Yeah, maybe along with Europe and other countries, but not in the form of NATO. Okay, so two major statements here. So Trump saying that Putin's country is in bad shape, their economy is not good, and there could be serious consequences if Russia does not agree to a ceasefire or try to end the war. And they will not be doing business with the U.S. until the war is over. And then aside from that, he did mention today that there will be security guarantees for Ukraine, but not in the form of NATO. So Trump again coming out saying that Ukraine is not going to get into NATO. Now, does that mean like right now or maybe in the near future? Or does he mean completely that Ukraine will never be able to get into NATO? They'll be barred from ever joining. We'll have to see how that happens. Yeah, we could be seeing some security guarantees for Ukraine. I'm sure that will be a large part of this peace deal. Ukraine has been calling for that. Now, Max 25, Lukashenko invited Trump and his family to Minsk, and the invitation was accepted according to Belarusian media. Yep, Trump did actually speak to Lukashenko on the phone just prior to heading to Alaska. I believe it was actually on board Air Force One when he spoke to him. This is going to be the president of Belarus, okay? And apparently Lukashenko did invite Trump to Minsk, which is the capital of Belarus, to meet with him. So here's another report regarding that. Noel reports Trump confirmed he had a wonderful conversation with Lukashenko while en route to Alaska, thanking him for releasing 16 political prisoners. He said they also discussed freeing another 1,300 prisoners, as well as Putin's upcoming visit to Alaska. And he added that he looks forward to meeting Lukashenko in the future. Here's a statement from Trump today on True Social. I had a wonderful talk with the highly respected president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko. Purpose of the call was to thank him for the release of 16 prisoners. We were also discussing the release of 1,300 additional prisoners. Our conversation was a very good one. We discussed many topics, including President Putin's visit to Alaska. I look forward to meeting President Lukashenko in the future. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So it looks like we could be seeing a visit not only to Russia, as we heard the other day, that Trump could be making some visits to Russia to meet with Putin at some point in the future. Aside from that, he could be going to Belarus as well to meet with Alexander Lukashenko. Let me know how you feel about that one. Now from Noel reports, Putin spokesman Dmitry Peskov says no documents are expected to be signed after today's summit with Trump in Alaska, adding that nothing was prepared and it's unlikely there will be a document. He said Putin will outline any understandings reached at a joint press conference, though Trump has suggested the presser might not happen if the talks go poorly. Okay, so I think Trump and Putin, if the talks go well, they're going to be holding like a press conference after, but it really depends on how things go. But Dmitry Peskov saying today that no documents are expected to be signed today. So kind of how I see that is at least a part of it is going to be ceasefire. If, the United States proposes a ceasefire and says, hey, Putin, will you sign this ceasefire with Ukraine? I'm assuming, according to this information, he's not going to sign one. And we heard this actually yesterday. from the Kremlin that Putin's not going to be signing anything. So no agreements should be made today, but I could be wrong. Maybe there will be some agreements. Maybe Trump will be able to get up Putin's sleeve and get him to agree to something. But we'll have to see how things play out. Okay. So now from World Source News 24/7 breaking. Kremlin spokesperson Peskov stated that the discussion between Putin and Trump are anticipated to last between 6 and 7 hours. So yeah, it's going to be a very long meeting today unless the talks go poorly. If the talks go poorly, Trump already stated he will be leaving even early and pretty much just returning back home to the lower states and getting out of Alaska if it doesn't work out. So it really depends on how things go with these talks, and really very soon it could be beginning when Trump and Putin start discussing an end to this war. So now from Z's Maxim. Putin wants to get the entire Donetsk region as a result of the territorial exchange and intends to resume the war even after a temporary ceasefire, says an opinion in the Wall Street Journal. Ukraine has created a 50-kilometer strip of heavily fortified cities in the Donetsk region. Russian troops have not been able to break through this line of defense. At the current speed, the Russians will need several years to overcome these fortifications. Putin is trying to achieve through negotiations with Trump what he was unable to achieve on the battlefield. If Putin gains full control over the Donetsk region with the help of the ceasefire gambit, Russia will be in a better position to attack the Kharkiv and Dnipropetrovsk regions. Ukraine will be forced to urgently create new lines of defense, including in areas where it will be more vulnerable. All of this is a reason for Trump to be wary of Putin. Here's a report today from the Wall Street Journal why Putin wants all of Donetsk and Ukraine. Russia has struggled to take a fortress defensive belt that blocks further advances. Yeah, we've been hearing that, Putin, wants, as part of a peace deal for Ukraine to give up the Donetsk region, and a large part of that could be to bypass defenses. We know that behind major cities in the Donetsk region, Ukraine has multiple fortification lines, trenches that are built, all kinds of defensive positions to stop the Russians if they happen to advance further in the Donetsk region. Ukraine's been working on those for over a year now. And if Russia were to gain control of the Donetsk region through some sort of peace deal or something, that could allow them to bypass those areas. And if they wanted to resume the war and violate the peace deal with Ukraine or whatnot, it would require Ukraine to have to build new defenses beyond that in some of the other regions like Dnipropetrovsk or Kharkiv region. So that's also why Ukraine doesn't want to give up the Donetsk region. It's a major fortress that would force Russia to, take on massive losses if they want to try to push through the Donetsk region, just like what we also see down in the Zaporizhzhia region in southern Ukraine. Now for military news UA, we are making progress in the Pokrovsk direction, says Zelensky. Units of the 79th and 82nd Airborne Assault Brigades are operating very effectively in the Dobropilya direction. Today there is a decision on additional strengthening of this and other directions in the Donetsk region. So this is great news to hear for Ukraine, that Ukraine has been able to stop that Russian advance in the southeastern side of Ukraine in the Donetsk region. Speaking of that while we're talking about it, we continue to hear more good information that after the Russians broke through Ukrainian lines in the Donetsk region, that Ukrainian forces have been able to stop this Russian advance so far and contain the spread of these Russian troops that were able to break through their lines. So we keep hearing more and more good information in that. We'll wait for more details, but there's an update today from Zelensky. Now from Bliskovka, the UK is ready to send troops into the territory of Ukraine to strengthen the ceasefire if such an agreement is reached. This was stated by Defense Minister John Healey. He disagreed with the idea that Britain is supposedly limited to the role of an observer. So interesting. So the Defense Minister of the UK today, John Healey, is stating that the UK is ready to send troops into Ukraine as a contingent force or peacekeeping force in Ukraine if we happen to see a ceasefire in this war. And interesting because yesterday we had a report, I think it was from the Times or another mainstream news publication, stating that the coalition of the willing, which includes the UK, France, Germany, Poland, several other nations, that allegedly that they're not ready to send troops into Ukraine anymore. They were talking months back about sending 30,000 troops into Ukraine to ensure their sovereignty and protect Ukrainian cities and whatnot. This is with actual European troops inside of Ukraine from some of these nations like the UK, that allegedly they were not open to doing that anymore. Now we're hearing from John Healey today that they are. So maybe there's just some countries that are open to it, maybe some not. But we've kind of been seeing a flip-flop, if I'm correct, on the UK. They've kind of said sometimes they're open to it, sometimes they're not. So we're going to have to really see what happens when we actually get down to the nitty-gritty of the negotiations with this war. That will help us determine whether these countries are actually open to that or not. So now for Bliskovka. Air Defense Forces of Ukraine shot down or suppressed 63 out of 97 Russian UAVs. The Russians also attacked with 2 Iskander-M ballistic missiles. Missiles and 34 UAVs were recorded at 13 locations. So you can see here, 99 today, okay? We've been seeing right around in the 40s or so area of drones going into Ukraine. Why so many tonight, right on the eve of Trump and Putin meeting? Okay, very interesting, and definitely a message that's being sent here from Russia. Now, it's not a super major attack like we've seen sometimes 600-700 or more drones going into Ukraine, but regardless, still a lot more than what we have seen, and it makes me wonder if Putin is trying to send a message to Ukraine that maybe they're not going to stop this war. Or, maybe they're still continuing or planning to continue the fighting in Ukraine, and we're not going to see any end to it. But yeah, let me know what you think, why there's so many more today that we haven't seen over the last week or so. Now for Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of August 15th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. And here's our final update today. Russia's losses as of August 15th, 940 troops, 3 AFVs, 140 vehicles and fuel tanks, 2 tanks, 40 artillery systems, 147 UAVs, 1 MLRS, 1 plane, and 3 special equipment. Okay, so these numbers up a little bit. We don't usually see too many special equipment being destroyed. It usually maybe 1. Looks like 3 were destroyed. And aside from that, this plane right here, if you're wondering about that, we talked about that yesterday. I'm assuming that's that Russian Su-30SM that crashed off the coast of Russia's Odessa region in the Black Sea near Snake Island. We reported that yesterday, that at the time, it was a reported incident of Ukraine's Navy stating that they picked up a transmission from the Russian side that the Russians had lost a warplane in the Black Sea. It allegedly crashed. I don't think it was shot down or anything like that. The pilots, they were still searching for them, so Ukraine is confirming today that this plane has been destroyed. So it looks like that has been the case, and there was lots of reports yesterday, even on X, that I was seeing that people were saying that it actually did crash. It was a legitimate story, that it wasn't just Ukraine stating that. So very big news right there. Now 1 MLRS being destroyed again. We've been seeing like 1 or 2 of these, sometimes 3 yesterday, being destroyed daily. So these are multiple launch rocket systems being destroyed. 40 artillery systems up a tiny bit. Usually see 20 or 30 there. Tanks and AFVs, very low numbers here. Vehicles and fuel tanks up a little bit again. Yesterday it was up to like 180 or 190, I think. So a lot higher recently. Aside from that, troop losses still about the same number. So yeah, guys, there's your daily updates regarding losses on the Russia side, and just massive news today. I'm going to continue to follow the story of Trump and Putin meeting today. If we get some big details, I'll do some more updates and share more information with you. But I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in for today's update on August 15th, 2025 here on this beautiful Friday. Hope you guys have a great day out there. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section, but that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.